Hi, I'm Evan Pantazi. Welcome to another installment on Kyusho. David Panino, and I hope I pronounced that right, sir. I'm sorry if I didn't. Asked a question on one of my last YouTube videos. What's a better way to attack the nerves of the body or activate the Kyusho? Open hands or closed fist? And it would depend on you, obviously, whether you work with the hand positions. I personally like the open hand. There's so many more things you can accomplish, so many more targets you can get into with those open hands, but those open hands have to be specific weapons, like the 6G hands of the Bubishi. Those open hands were designed specifically to reach deep into the body to attack the vascular tissue rather than more superficial structures like the nerves. So working with the open hands for me is much better, and it's much easier to accomplish the Kyusho. Now, some people see the videos on YouTube and they don't believe it is possible because they think it looks too easy. Well, anything you practice for a few decades becomes easier, okay? But learning the little details. You take an electrician, for example. They can whip in and out a circuit breaker and wire your house, okay? And for them, it just looks easy, okay? We know it's not. It's difficult and hard and dangerous work. However, they make it look easy. Same with a plumber putting in a new sink or new fixtures. But we know that they can do it that easily because they have years of experience with it. They have the right tools, and there's your exacting detail that you need, the tools. You have the targets. The targets are there, okay? You can access them with many different things like a closed fist, but you're limited on the number of targets you can properly and more deeply affect with a closed fist, because it's like a snowshoe on top of the snow. It's blocked out by other surrounding structures. You have a target underneath here, the facial nerve that runs underneath here, along with the facial artery. Okay, if you hit with a fist, yeah, you can pinch it a little bit, but if you get in there with something like an iron bone hand, you're going to be able to get in deeper and cause more of an effect, okay, and cause more of an effect on the human that's receiving that as well. So the open hand techniques of the Shaolin hands portrayed in the Bubishi are far more valuable than the closed fist. They gave us the closed fist in the newer katas or the newer versions of the katas when it hit the schools, because they didn't want people really hurting each other or really knowing this stuff. I mean, it got tamed down into a sport, so most people use their fists. And don't get me wrong, fists are great. I mean, they're going to hurt you, and they could put you down as well. However, if you really want to work the Kyusho and get better at it, the open hands are better. Now, here's one other thing you should think about too, and that's the legalities. If you use a closed fist, you know, you're on the street now, everybody has a camera, and they're ready. I mean, they're getting things like car accidents. I mean, the cameras are out already. They're taking pictures, they're taking videos. You don't even see them. But if you need to have a self-defense situation, you have closed fists and you start pounding on someone with those fists, that doesn't look so good in a court of law. If you're using your open hands, you could just say you were trying to protect yourself, pushing them away, and you're just pushing in the right areas, because again, the open hands don't rely on power, okay, that you'll see in a video when someone throws a punch. There's massive power behind it. But when you're using your open hands, they take a quick action and a very short distance to activate the nerves, and a little bit more emphasis to get into the blood structures. So if it doesn't look like you're being malicious or pounding on or beating the person with a closed fist, then legally it's better for you in a court of law. You know, whether you're right or wrong, that's another story, but by the appearance and the looks, the open hand is going to look much better. Now, here's also something else. If you close your fist, you tighten your forearm muscles to make that fist. You tighten your hand and wrist muscles as well. All right, so your arm is actually throwing the strike instead of your wrist. Now, in grappling in close, it's harder to pull off a punch like that with power. You need shorter, sharper shocks, okay, and that's only available by transitions and flipping of the wrist. And with open hands, the wrist is very flexible. It can move quickly, and it can change directions very rapidly. The fist takes a lot more time, so you can only hit one target at a time with a fist, where with the open hand you may be able to target 2 or even 3 targets with an open hand position just by quickly rotating the wrist. Again, with a tight fist, the wrist doesn't rotate very well at all. If you're going to need to use a fist type of an action, I suggest the blood pool hands, or those first two knuckles, or even the first middle knuckle is my favorite. And you learn to work with that as opposed to the closed fist for the transition. Again, caught on film, you could argue my hand was open, my fingers just bent back when his head hit into my hand. You could say I was pushing him away, I was helping him up, I was doing whatever. Okay, so again, it's safer, it's stronger for the Kyusho, and it makes it more easy. So open hands is my guess, okay, on which one I prefer. Okay, I hope it is for you too. If you train it properly, it should be. Take care.